Okay, so here we are in a great state of Texas, and I say that somewhat facetiously, where there is no public land, and they seem to be proud of that too. There's another thing you see in Texas a lot, the fencing that goes all high and with the shit to keep the deer contained. The way they hunt in Texas is pretty odd. It seems pretty lazy. I'm used to, people I know that hunt, at least out west, they spend the whole season tracking deer, hiking after them, observing them, even when it's not season, even if it's out of season, even if that's not active hunting going on. They just enjoy scouting the deer. Now, of course, you got to manage deer populations, otherwise they get too out of control and they nibble everything down on what the shit. It's a high population of deer is bad for the landscape, especially if you've already eradicated all the predators, which is another thing I disagree with, but that doesn't matter. My opinions don't really matter here. What matters here is that the way they hunt in Texas is they just, they basically put a box up on stilts and they bait these poor bastards, these deer, with corn, and then they just shoot them. So it's just a really lazy way to hunt. I guess I don't understand it. Seems, to offend anybody, but it just doesn't seem that fun to me. It just seems kind of like a macabre way to just randomly shoot animals. Why not just go get a fucking hamburger? Or at least, do the slaughtering yourself, get a fucking cow. I don't know. Anyway, regardless, it is pretty amusing. And I realize you really only see this type of high fencing like this in Texas. That's because they want to keep the deer on these little private hunting places. Anyway, regardless, let's take a look at this Eryngium over here. Now, this is pretty amazing. This is a member of the carrot family, and I had no idea that, standing far back, I thought it was some kind of thistle at first. Then I got up close after I, pissed over there on the side of the road and realized that this was indeed a member of the carrot family, and it was an Eryngium, which is a genus I'm familiar with. A lot of different species in Eryngium. It's a pretty amazing genus. It goes all the way down into Brazil. Some of them get upwards of 6 feet in width and look like agaves. Now, this whole thing is a very, very spiky and hard. This is some very hard tissue right here. It's it's not fun to touch, but the more important thing is that these pigments in this plant. This is Eryngium leavenworthii, and I was not familiar with it until today. But again, you've got that same thing going on, basically an umbel that's all clustered together. Remember, an umbel is that typical umbrella shape that you see in families such as Apiaceae and Polygonaceae. A lot of the buckwheats have it, but here in the genus Eryngium, that umbel has been fused together in a condensed little knob. So those are all a bunch of tiny flowers. It's technically an umbel, but they're all fused together in more of a kind of I guess condensed spike. I don't know what the hell you would call it. It's still an umbel, but anyway, you could see each one of those little white things is a tiny flower, and then you got those stamens poking out with the purple anthers on the end. A pretty goddamn amazing thing right here. I had no idea that Eryngium leavenworthii even existed. Again, variations on a theme, endless forms, most beautiful, and what this shit, I just, holy shit, I'm kind of blown away. And it's already, it's dry as balls out here too. Some nice limestone as well. Nice limestone all right over there. Which again is, I'm not sure the age on this, but it is the old floor of an ocean. It's the floor of an ocean composed of mostly tons of tiny bodies of single-celled organisms that made their shells out of calcium carbonate. So it's dry as balls out here, and this thing is pretty much done. It's flowering now. The basal rosette is gone. Most Eryngiums, again, are biennial. So they produce a basal rosette the first year, and in the second year they send up a spike, or in this case a stem with caulline leaves, and then they do their thing. But goddamn, it's pretty weird. It's pretty fascinating too. Pretty cool. Tons of little shrub oaks and junipers, and then of course the big deer fence to keep people out, because there's no public land there. And if you don't have public land, what do you have? I'll tell you what you have. If you don't have public land, you have basically a missed opportunity for the public, and the overall impact on society at large and the general populace is pretty negative. All right, public land is important not to just give people a space to breathe and a space to get away from other human beings when they feel stressed out or when they feel you know, like they're on the edge, they're a little tense, you know, maybe they're gonna, you know, commit suicide or homicide. And I only say that half jokingly. Public land is also good because it gives people an opportunity to learn about science and about the non-human world around them. And when you take that away from people, the cumulative effects on society are far-reaching and widespread, and they're going to probably impact everyone's life at some point, you know? You take away that breathing room, that room to breathe, that room to get out and take a fucking walk and calm down, and you're taking away a lot from people, and the negative effects are going to be, like I said, far-reaching and widespread. It's pretty fucking idiotic. I don't really understand it, but you know, they seem to be proud of it here, so whatever. I don't know. But the good thing about Texas is if you do stay at the hotels, they got the continental breakfast, the free continental breakfast. Oftentimes they do have that cute little waffle machine that makes a waffle in the shape of the state, you know. I don't see that anywhere else. That's one good thing Texas has going for it. Now, in beautiful Sutton County, Texas, which was undoubtedly named after a person who stole this land from the original inhabitants who had lived there for 15,000 years prior, we're afforded a wonderful opportunity to study the thing known as limestone endemism. Now, this is basically a factor in which plants are restricted to growing specifically on the limestone, which is what this is. Now, limestone, if you remember, is composed of calcium carbonate, and sometimes you get a little bit of gypsum with the limestone, which I believe is calcium sulfate, though don't quote me on that, I'm a shitty chemist. Regardless, here's a plant known from growing only on limestone. This is LINUM rupestre, and it's called rupestre because it's mostly, you know, habituated to growing in cracks in the rock, which you'll see down here. And there's quite a few plants growing down on the side of this sketchy ledge right here. This little sketchy ledge actually provides a wonderful opportunity for many plants to grow. You know, it gives them a little bit of shade, and as well as collects, since it's right off the road, collects a little bit more moisture than the surrounding terrain. Right here you have a species of Echinocereus cactus right there. Unfortunately, it's not flowering. It's not so illustrious when it's not in bloom, but it is a pretty plant. You get a bunch of different pink blooms again. And remember, Echinocereus has those erumpent buds. On cacti, the flower buds come out of the areoles, which is where those spines come out of as well. But on Echinocereus, they just kind of, there's no organization to how they erupt out of those areoles, out of that tissue. It's called being erumpent, which is actually an apomorphy for the genus Echinocereus. Erumpent buds, meaning they just basically shove the spines to the side and then burst out erumpently. Could you say that? Could you say erumpent? I think you could say that. Anyway, this species has its northern distribution in Texas. It goes on down into Nuevo Leon and Chihuahua and maybe even Coahuila and what the shit, I don't know. Oh, look at that! It's a piece of trash. It's a tire tread with a little coyote turd on it. Oh shit! Jesus Christ! Did you see that? That was a fucking racer snake. Just whizzed by me over there. How about that? Anyway, I wanted to show you this Mammillaria hyderii. Now, this is a species of mam, and you'll notice it's growing prostrate with the ground. And it's prostrate, not prostate. I always have to make a point of saying that. This is Mammillaria hyderii. You can see it's got those little tubercles. That's why it's called the nipple cactus. And then, of course, the areoles on this Mammillaria, is on most of them, I believe, are on top of those tubercles, those nipples. That's why they call it the nipple cactus. Okay, well, this is nice. You know, since there's no public land in Texas, there's no high pressure valve. And, you know, like I said, it contributes to the general, you know, dumbing down of society, as well as the insanity. You know, and this is not a revolutionary idea. People like Frederick Law Olmsted and what the shit knew this. That's why they made all those nice parks, you know, 120 years ago, basically to give people a chance to cool down, you know. Otherwise, you end up with this kind of dystopic feudal-like state, a feudalism state that you have in Texas. Anyway, since there's no public land there, I've just taken to botanizing on the edge of the interstate where traffic is going about 80 miles per hour, a mere 20 feet away from me. Here's a wonderful species of milkweed. This, I believe, is Asclepias latifolia. It's got super glabrous leaves, almost I mean, I guess it's got a little bit of fuzz, but not even enough to call hairs. It's just got its kind of velvety fuzz. Oh, look, there's a little crab spider doing his thing. Is he just relaxing with his arms back, so casually and calmly, or is he waiting for his next meal? It seems like he's waiting for his next meal, right? So you can see these hoods actually have pretty good horns. See those spikes coming out of those 5 hoods that surround each gynostegium? Now, I'm using words that are go in a milkweed dungeon here. These are the safe words for the milkweed dungeon. You hear words like hoods and horns and gynostegium, you know you're in the milkweed bondage dungeon, which is exactly what's going on here. So I don't know if these ants, you know, it seems like a dangerous flower to try and pound it. You got a spider waiting to pounce on you if you show up, then you got all these fucking ants acting like bouncers that won't let you in. Regardless, you know, Asclepias latifolia, I'm guessing it's probably a limestone endemic, since you can see this what is probably late Cretaceous limestone everywhere in the... A lot of stuff going on here, you know, but it is, again, it's pretty dangerous. Had some nice ferns over here, members of the Pteridacea. Oh, look at all that garbage. It's nice. Makes me feel right at home. There's that Eryngium again. Leavenworthii, member of the carrot family. Now that's I guess this is an annual. Most Eryngiums are biennial. This is an annual. There's the milkweed, pre-anthesis, pre-full frontal. And look at this nice species of Pteridacea you just got coming out the cracks in the road cut. Nice beautiful xeric fern. Now here you go back down on the ground, you can see that LINUM rupestre exhibiting its habit of just growing out of pure rock. See that? No soil whatsoever, just growing straight out the rock. Here's a species of Myriopterus, a species of Pteridacea. Remember, that's the xeric fern family. Well, not all xeric ferns, but most of them. You can see it doesn't have a true indusium. It's just got those rolled under margins, those lips on the edge of the little leaflets there. So you got the central rachis, and then the pinnae, and then the leaflets right there. Hey, you got some spores over there, huh? This might be a good opportunity to examine what's going on with the... Yeah, you got got some sori. Now the sori are what released the spores. Oh yeah, look at that. Bunch of sori just ready to dump their spores out, which then of course get transported by the wind and fall in another rock crack on a limestone, and then you get another goddamn Myriopterus going off. Over here you had a species of Zeltnera. It's a pretty weird one. Bright pink plant. I got a nice Celtis too. Celtis, excuse me, depending on your pronunciation. Anyway, so here's that little species of Zeltnera. And I believe this is Zeltnera texensis, and that's in the Gentianaceae. I believe there's about 20 to 25 species in North America. And it's, again, just growing straight out the rack. Real nice little plant, huh? What a beaut. I'll be damned. Ah, well, that was nice. Anyway, I gotta get back up there. This little instant ramen. Anyway, that was nice. I hope you had a nice time enjoying my misanthropic rambling and various witty banter and what this shit. I'm gonna keep going on the road. Gotta keep driving. Gotta be in South Texas by midnight.